Are you ready, kids?
Aye, aye, Captain!
Surely you remembered these words when you understood what cartoon we were talking about. If you didn't know, SpongeBob fans are getting ready to celebrate the 19th anniversary of their beloved show. But do you know how old this funny character is? Well, no, you're wrong. Actually, SpongeBob is over 30 years old. But we're not going to reveal all the interesting information in the introduction. Better watch our video where you'll discover many things you didn't know before. Are you ready, kids? Ooh! SpongeBob's name. Have you noticed that all the SpongeBob characters always call him SpongeBob? Other characters in the program simply have their names, and Patrick is just Patrick or Squidward is just Squidward. Well, you get the idea. This is a very strange thing, so we went into the depths of Google to discover the truth. After making long and even dangerous inquiries, we have found the answer. When creating this famous character, Stephen Hillenburg, the father of this cartoon, was afraid that the children would mistake SpongeBob for a chunk of cheese or the Cheese Man. It's quite logical, honestly, because if you look at SpongeBob, you'll notice that he looks a lot like a chunk of cheese. Now you won't be able to unsee this. Amazing, isn't it? The age of the characters. In one of the episodes of the program when SpongeBob receives his driver's license, we can see a secret document with very curious information. For example, we discovered that SpongeBob has yellow hair and blue eyes, weighs a little over 28 grams, and was born on July 14th, 1986. Wait a minute, so in 2018 he'll be 32 years old? By the way, our beloved Sponge was born on the same day as an important holiday in France, Bastille Day, but it's still unlikely that this fact conceals any secrets of the creators. While you imagine SpongeBob at the barricades in Paris, we have a couple of interesting facts for you. Mr. Krabs was born on November 30th, 1942, which means that he's now 75 years old. Squidward, on the other hand, was born on October 9th, 1977. While Patrick was born on July 19th, 1984, which means that they are 40 and 33 years old respectively. Although, frankly, it's not worth looking for some logic in these dates and numbers. For example, when the cartoon went on the air, SpongeBob must have been 13 years old. A little young to be working, but let's suppose that in the aquatic world, the workplace rules are a little different. But in 2004, when the SpongeBob SquarePants movie appeared, it turned out that SpongeBob had been the Employee of the Month in the Krusty Krabs 374 times. If we divide those 374 awards into 12 months, it means SpongeBob has been working for 31 years. As you can see, there's no logic at all. There are only Krabby Patties. My leg! In this program, we find another character who, although not very famous, has a very important role. In many cases, we don't even see him. We can only hear him shouting, "My leg!" in the distance. My leg! My leg! This mysterious character appears in moments of chaos, and, so to speak, sums up what's happening around him. In most cases, he looks like a green and brown fish, wearing tight pants with a belt. However, sometimes he changes colour and is purple or blue. But, surprise, it's not just another character with a funny line. In one episode, we discovered that his name is Fred, and that, among other things, he has a son. By the way, this character and his famous leg appear in the episode with the unbearable smell, which became a famous meme on the internet. You haven't seen it? Ah, that's too bad. Sponges and mops. When SpongeBob was still in a state of development, and no one could have imagined that it would become a very popular show, Stephen Hillenburg decided that his character would be called Sponge Boy. It was a great way to avoid association with a piece of cheese, and it sounded great, so Nickelodeon agreed. However, the harsh reality got in the way, and more precisely, copyright became a problem. According to different versions, the name Sponge Boy was already used by a cleaning product or a mop company. But Hillenburg didn't do much to change this, and named his character SpongeBob, while the surname SquarePants appeared because it referred to the character's shape, and it had a nice ring to it. By the way, SpongeBob has a real name, not just Bob. It's called Robert Harold SquarePants. Can you live with that information in your head? Krusty Krabs. You've probably heard of this famous underwater restaurant, which feeds its visitors with passion. In return, its owner, Mr. Krabs, is willing to keep the money from the hungry customers. But now we're not going to talk about the profits of this place, or the greed of this character. Have you ever seen what a lobster trap looks like? We didn't know, and we wouldn't have thought about it if it weren't for this video. Now look at what a lobster trap looks like, and now look at the shape of the Krusty Krab. We don't wish the characters in this cartoon any harm, but Mr. Krabs' restaurant looks a lot like this trap. Now we can't stop thinking about the ingredients of the Krabby Patty that are secret. We don't want to assume anything, so decide for yourself. Family ties. Surely you know that Patrick is the most surprising and unpredictable character in this cartoon, but in reality, this funny little dummy hides many secrets, including those of his family. If you do a little research, you can find out about Patrick's family tree on the internet and discover his relationship with all sorts of ancient kings and princes. But the most interesting thing is that Patrick's first cousin is Gary, SpongeBob's pet. This isn't a joke, they're cousins. This is really strange. But what logic can there be in a cartoon about a talking sponge? We're serious. Snails drive underwater cars and Plankton's married to a computer woman. Dubbing actors. Since we're talking about Plankton and his electronic wife, maybe it's time to talk about an interesting fact related to the computer lady. The actress who gives Karen the voice,
the letter after Y,
is Jill Talley, a great professional. On the other hand, the actor who gives SpongeBob his voice is Tom Kenny.
I am on Team Krabs for life! No, never!
Another great dubbing actor. But you know what brings them together? No, it's not the love for this cartoon, although it is an important part of their relationship. Actually, Jill and Tom have been married since 1995, which means that their marriage took place long before the appearance of SpongeBob's first series. The couple currently have 2 children, but we ask ourselves, does poor Plankton know about this? Squids and octopi. Now it's time to unravel an incredible mystery. Watch this carefully. This is a squid. This is also a squid. And this one too. And this is Squidward, the most bitter person in Bikini Bottom. And he is not a squid. It's not easy to accept this fact, but it is true. Squidward himself is happy to confuse the audience. In some chapters he claims to be an octopus, while in others he presents himself as a squid, and even once claimed to be a lobster. It is impossible to understand the logic of the creators. According to the artists, Squidward is a squid, although he has 6 tentacles instead of 8. Yeah, the hands count too, believe it or not. The decision to reduce the number of tentacles was made to facilitate the work of the animators, which is quite logical. We're not going to criticize them. Another opinion of the creators is that with 8 tentacles, Squidward looks much more brutal. Oh, really? A couple of tentacles and it becomes the Kraken? Radiation. You've probably noticed that the situations we see in SpongeBob's cartoon are a little insane, so to speak. Or maybe too insane. But all these things, including the underwater fire, the puddles at the bottom of the sea, and the possibility of listening to music with your eyes, have a logical but quite terrible explanation. The city where the characters in this cartoon live is known as the Bikini Bottom, and is located on Bikini Atoll. It's a series of coral islands that form a peninsula with a lagoon in the centre. There is nothing special about it, and there are many similar places in the world, but the Bikini Atoll was used to experiment with thermonuclear and atomic bombs. In other words, the radiation from this place can break any radiation Geiger counter. As a result of the explosions, the few inhabitants of the region were affected by terrible diseases, while the inhabitants of the sea, well, now they can make burgers underwater, water flowers and wear pants. Who knows if they're comfortable? Different mistakes. Searching for errors in SpongeBob episodes is a pretty complicated task, because they basically don't exist. You heard it right. But even if there are no mistakes, the unique style of this cartoon allows the animators to pay more attention to the characters and the general madness. Instead of worrying about the changes between the different plans, something is always disappearing from the display. Always. Watch carefully. On the table we can see a ship in a bottle, and now it's gone. Poof! In front of SpongeBob we can see a bottle of soap bubbles, and a second later it's gone. Sometimes it's the other way around, and among the ingredients in a Krabby Patty are a couple of extra sauces. Plankton can also change his size. Here he is a little bigger than a glass, and then he becomes smaller than a fly. But all this is part of the cartoon's style. You shouldn't criticize cartoonists for being careless, as they do their job very well. Some pickles may disappear, but the fun is guaranteed. So what secrets of this cartoon do you know? Maybe you know the secret recipe for the Krabby Patty. Well, make sure you don't give it to Plankton. Better share it with us in the comments, and don't forget to give us a like. Amazing gadgets, upcoming technologies, incredible inventions, and other cool stuff related to high tech on TechZone. Subscribe, you won't regret it. The link is on the screen and in the description. Thanks for watching. Please like and share the video in social networks, and we'll be right back to you as fast as we can.